Hello again, everyone. Burrell here, Flow Roofing out of Portland, Oregon. And this is an extension of our Sunday morning chats, and it is now Sunday night. After a fairly successful, what I would call first-time participation at the auto show at the convention center, we got an opportunity to be a part of the community and give and only give. And I feel like the reception of just giving felt like a way better vibe than us trying to be in anyone's face, which is, if you've had a flow inspection, and this video is to build on the last video as a part 2 to what to expect when you go with the flow. Part 1 was the inspection. What to expect at the inspection, how we approach our inspections, making it very clear that we don't sell roofs at Flow Roofing. I know it's weird. That's how we like to flow, okay? Very natural process where we provide education and value with availability to ask questions openly in a safe place where there's no dumb questions, and to treat everyone like they're an engineer or a qualified professional in their understanding, but to hopefully use language that a third grader could understand, to paraphrase Alex Hormozy, in order to make sure that we're all on the same page. And with that, to add clarity to an otherwise uncertain experience, because we are kind of like this bigger child of a young kid on the block here in Portland, and we're perceived, I think we're perceived as this bigger thing, when in reality we're this family-owned operation that's full of amazing individuals that are trying their best to make sure that we can bring the best to the people that want to be treated with the best. And we call that going with the flow. But in order to make sure that we're all on the same page, we need to establish communication and to create a 6-star experience where you can see into the future with us, right? You can put on our X-ray goggles and peer into your attic space, be there with us, flowing, and to ensure that you can come with us over where the grass is greener, where the attics are cooler and the roofs last longer and the air is fresher when you flow. Literally, malarkey's using smog reducing granules. Sorry, we're getting off topic. So, okay, so you've had your flow inspection. You're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. The guy produced a lot of good information. I feel like he answered everything responsibly. He showed up on time or early. He was looking good. He got up in my attic. He answered all my questions, gave me the good, the bad, and the ugly. It sounds like he's going to give the proposal, put it back to us pretty quick. Everything happens. Great, now what? What is it like on the other side of going with the flow? Before, you were on the one side, and you're like, God, I don't know. Those guys, they're up to something. And then, okay, you're like, oh, we're going to go with the flow. The value's there. I trust everything they're trying to do. They stand for quality. They're local. That being said, I'm ready to go with the flow, Mr. Inspector. Great. Next steps. Let's go over your proposal and pick out the options you want to put on there. You don't have to choose anything you don't want. Feel free to ask any questions during this time. And if you have additional requests, you can add them at any time at the comfort of your own schedule in your own house. If you want to add it as an addendum or a change order, you can put the gutters on at any time after the roof goes on. Generally, you put the gutters on always after the roof because you don't want your roofers dinging up your new gutters. We would replace the gutter even if we did ding it, but it's like, why go through that hassle, okay? By the way, our roofers have ladder bumpers, so we don't have to worry about that. But all that leads to, great, let's go with the flow. I want that Malarkey Max Flow Vista AR option, the most popular roof that we go through. We say, great. What's your color? All right, it's going to be a small deposit. Great. Here's your one signature agreement. Awesome. By the way, that comes with a free gutter cleaning in the fall. We'll see you after the fact. Cool. Now what? Everything up to this point, you're just like, thumbs up. Yes, yes, yes. Midnight Black. Yes, yes, yes. Watch out for my rose bushes. Yes, yes, yes. Help me with my Traeger barbecue. And then comes the baton pass. This is where any company can fumble, drop, lose the championship, is when the inspector passes the order to the production manager. And where that can lead astray is in miscommunication, a baton fumble, okay? I don't know if it's called a fumble when you drop the baton, but production manager's responsibility is to take your order, take your agreement, and transpose it into a work order, a clear document of instruction that provides our installers with the exact clarity of how to install and where to install and how much to install your smart intake, your ridge vent, or maybe you got a standard system, or maybe you want to add a skylight somewhere, right? But exactly where, what, how many, why, etc., with color, manufacturer details, and a review signature that our production manager signs off on, saying, yep, John got that good old Midnight Black Malarkey Max flow. Great. The next step is another baton pass back to the homeowner or property owner, in which case there's a review, systemized questions to understand that, yes, you did order this. And yes, these are your project details. Yes, we are excited about flowing together. Yes, we are going to be booked out 4, 6, 8+ weeks here in the next 3 to 4 months. We appreciate your patience. Thank you. And at which point expectations around ETAs are set. And then the next steps as well. And there could be a lull between the time when you hear from production and when your project manager picks up the work order. And that lull in between there is a countdown reminder to let you know, hey, your expected ETAs for your install are coming up. And then your project manager gets that ding and another baton pass happens where your project manager picks up the phone and gives you another call for a first-time introduction, in which the point is to set up a site walk and you meet with Flo again. And a Flow project manager comes out, at which point reviews the signature document, your work order, to triple check your project details are all lined up and correct. At that point, you can add, you can subtract anything. If you want to take a peek at your ventilation details, it's all there. And at this point, it could be Monday morning, whatever works best for you. I will say on-duty project managers are Monday through Saturday in the summer. We have one that rolls around on Sundays, but he's primarily on trailer duty. So he's not going to be super available for questions and such. But Monday through Saturday, whatever works best for you, we can make it happen. And we apologize if it's always not at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday or 6 p.m. on a Friday. We do have to try and create a route. That being said, we appreciate your patience and understanding with us, trying to require a little bit of flexibility. Water takes the shape of its container, so that we are a product of our environment. And if Portland is clogged and congested with afternoon traffic, it may take 20, 30 plus more minutes than we'd hoped to get across town to have that meeting, to make sure that we're all on the same page. And just to set expectations, these trucks do 50,000+ miles a year, and Our drivers can do well over 12 hours of driving a day, and project managers are capped at 4 projects a week with some repairs and gutters to ensure that all of our clients are getting the proper expectations met, that they're getting the 5 and 6 star experiences that we're shooting for. Okay. So thank you for your patience. These guys are working their asses off, and we'll have a completely separate video attributed to the men and women that have joined the Flow team, that have decided and are willing to work their bodies to the bone in a way where modern humans take for granted how hard it is to do manual labor. Okay. Flow's record is a 5-layer tear off, and a 5-layer tear off is probably somewhere between 600 and 900 pounds per square or more. No underlayments in the one that we did. If they're 235 pound per square shingles, but the 3-tab, they might be a lot less. There were like 2 layers of 3-tab. That's why I think it's like between 500 and 800, not like 6 and 1,000, but a lot of shingle. Okay, like that doesn't pry off very easily, or you do it in layers. Okay, so a little bit of patience for these guys that are literally breaking their backs to make sure that your homes are protected from the top down and the inside out. That being said, we found the best of the best, and we do quite a vetting process to make sure that the installers that jump on your roof are actively documenting, for our own sake and yours, the safety protocols of what's required by OSHA and Flow to ensure that we don't have any hiccups or delays from unnecessary OSHA stops. Okay. All the OSHA stops that we've never had because our guys were harnessed up as they drove by fills my heart. I just know that we got lucky probably hundreds of times because the guys were doing what they're supposed to. So they have families, they have responsibilities, they should know better. Okay. But they're also expected to and required to by law. So thank you, guys. So baton pass. Your project manager sets expectations. He's going to call in route for your pre-site walk. You say Monday morning, shows up before 8, calls in route. Hey, Mr. Project Manager, would like to go over a couple details here. I forgot on my work what I wanted to add some gutters, or talk to me about skylights, or why should I do this max flow system versus getting a solar fan, etc. So we go through all these different options. You could even upgrade your ventilation system if you want the standard at that point. Ideally, this is the week ahead. Okay, so if you are getting a roof April 1st, April Fools, and your install was April 8th, hypothetically on a Monday, then April 1st, we're walking through everything. We've reached out to suppliers, know the material orders coming. We've locked in that delivery for ideally Monday afternoon, although sometimes Tuesdays is a decent one, depending on the layers and the slope. That gives the crews the ability to go and open up the roof without having to move the materials twice, and doesn't mean they have to rush tear off to get the ridge opened up and dried in, so that way they don't have to again move the materials twice, which is all going to depend on the slope and the access of the roof itself. By the way, we this is a pretty critical detail on the production side of things, that Flow cannot control your material delivery other than requesting the day that we know the roof is going to be open, so that the crew can have materials to keep things dried in as they open things up. And so back to the pre-site walk. Your project manager is showing up with your underlayments, your cap nails, your all your nails, your staples, etc. If there's plywood that we know is going into it, ideally all that's there on site in the pre-site visit, to make sure that when the crew opens up, that if the materials is late, that at least the property is protected with all the dry materials necessary to ensure that when they do land, they can be installed immediately, or as they are continuing to tear off and dry in the ridge, that those materials can be stacked without having to work around the suppliers, etc. So from there, our project manager is going to take pictures of your driveway to ensure that we're not cracking the driveway. We're taking pictures of the siding all the way around to make sure that we're not adding damage to the property. We want to leave them better than we find it. We're taking pictures of your rose bushes. If we're asking help, if you need help with moving the Traeger or the rose bushes. As we go around to the front of the building, you might be walking around in your slippers at this point, sipping the cup of coffee, being like, oh, yeah, I never saw that bird nest sitting up there before. But we want to know if you have any landscaping that you want help protecting. We don't charge for this, but we'll bring in extra plywood and lay teepees up around your garden to make sure that the roses are protected. Help move the Traeger underneath the eaves and ensure that any other questions are answered at that point. Double, triple check getting up on the roof at this point. After the pictures are taken, we're walking around, we're circling back to the front of the house. Double and triple check there's plywood or not, or how many layers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unlikely. I'm sure they're out there. So at this time, you understand that your project's happening within a week or so. The project manager's saying, hey, weather's looking good on Monday. Sunday, we're going to check in at one final time, letting you know, hey, we're good to go tomorrow morning. Crews will be there between 8 and 11. And I say 8 and 11 because if something happens and they're delayed by a little bit, it's best to have that window. And generally, though, crews want to start early. We say 8 and 11, but crews want to show up between 7 and 8 in the summer. And better to set expectations so that you can exceed them than to set yourself up for failure. So we always like to give our crews a nice, healthy window. And that just makes the client that much more comfortable that we're on top of it. And some crews come up over an hour's drive from the boonies out in the sticks and come into the city to help us install. And so we want to make sure that they have the time to get to the job site without having to worry about there being an accident coming down the hill at the tunnel, or the Twilligers got a rolled over semi, something crazy, a bridge collapsed, I don't know. But we're covered because we've got enough time. We're not rushing, all right? And so your project manager asks for any final questions, confirms these details with you, does the walk around, submits the pictures of the secondary inspection, at which point then reports back to production to go ahead and give the thumbs up for the material delivery, the bathroom delivery, and the trailer delivery. And so it's hard to give you an exact time if our Sunday driver is going to be delivering on Sunday or that Monday morning, but you can expect within a 48-hour period of your install, if you're getting that April 8th date, and you're still following this, if you're getting that April 8th date, a week after your pre-site walk, then you can expect that trailer to come in with all your dry-in materials, and then your project manager shows up and your crew shows up, and you're ready to flow. And so with that, there's a window where we give you that week to kind of soak in that old roof vibe and get ready for that new roof feel, that new roof smell. And so you are going to be one of 4 other installs at any given time. And we break up our weeks, first half, second half. We do 4 Monday through Wednesday, and we do another 4 Thursday through Saturday. And from that point, we're capped. We're limited. Flow is not going to be doing more than 400 or 500 roofs in 2025. I'm sorry. It is for our clients' best interest to ensure that you are given the best attention this city can offer you. And I've seen these other companies around. They are subcontracting the fuck out of your experience. You are just a number on an Excel sheet when what you deserve is this white glove treatment. And so in 2025, we've created this system and these processes to ensure that your project flows as smoothly as humanly possible. And so what about production unforeseen circumstances? What about the surprises that could go wrong? At any given time during your install, we may have crawled all the way through your attic space and you had a valley tucked away in a dormer that we couldn't reach. Valleys and penetrations are generally the places where rot happens. Besides solar brackets, that's where ice dams can happen. And so what we want to do is prepare you that if you do need a sheet of plywood, your project managers create a relationship where there's no problem because you've already had the conversation that yes, your sheet of plywood is going to be X amount extra, or if there's 2 sheets, right? Or if you know going into it that you have skip sheeting with cedar on the bottom, that you're in for a full resheet, and that's not a surprise expense because it's built into your project, okay? So in your proposal at the time of inspection, you have a worst case scenarios. This is so critical. So flow roofing was and is a child of Northeast Portland, which is some of the most horrific access and some of the most horrific pitches and the most horrific layer counts I think we'll ever see anywhere else in the city. Followed by Southeast Portland, okay? But as we're growing after the pandemic and projects were flowing, I quickly realized that we were getting the hardest projects in the city. While all the other roofing companies are cherry picking single layer suburban house track homes, Flow Roofing was up against all of the hand hauls, all of the hand loads, all of the multi-layer full resheet 12-12 2 3 4 story BS. And our crews ate it up. Those are the best crews that I have today, the crews that actually ask for those jobs because it pays better, because we pay our crews some of the best wages, I think, in the industry. So grateful for them. And it is a sight to behold, and it's worth for anyone to go and take a look and honor these men. I will help you if you can't afford a cup of coffee, but getting them a cup of coffee, we give them waters, but like just a little token of appreciation. And even if it's just a thank you, there's a change in the world at this time that's uncertain for labor in the United States. With the potential ISIS deportation situation, our guys are great and documented, but I'm worried about everyone else and what happens when something a little more catastrophic comes across the plate of the U.S. What's going to happen to those hardworking men and women? I know that we will take care of our people because those people will take care of you. But I'm just not sure about the economy as a whole. I've not been around long enough to see all these different cycles. It's going to be a learning experience at the least, okay? From what I can tell, though, beyond new construction and developments of such nature, that retail remodeling is never going to go out of fad. And the only way that would happen is if knock on wood, that the housing market tanks. And so new construction is going to be up against a kind of a hard place. I feel like there's not that much land happening. There's only so many tenant build outs you can do. There's only going to be so much growth out in the other areas. McMinnville, Ridgefield's obviously blown up. Camas is completely different. Washougal's like next in line. I think Sandy's probably going to pop off. Salem getting multiple Costco's, right? Like, these land development people, they know what they're doing. But the continued building of low income housing, that's going to create an interesting economy environment, I feel like, especially with wages being disproportional to home values, from what I can tell. So, all right, we're getting off track. Anyway, production, the point being that we want to try to create an experience where there's predictability and continuous, consistent, flowing results, which is how we've gotten this far, by ensuring that we follow the processes that we've laid out, that we've set expectations from beginning to end, that we've passed the baton with care back to you, back to production, out to the field, back to the CRM, to help you understand what your project status is and where things are headed, what your completion is looking like, to leave the property better than we can find it. And where this can fluctuate is if you've added gutters to your project, then you have that extra day or so, depending on when and where you're at in the season. Gutters can follow up anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks after the roof. And in a perfect world, 1 to 2 weeks. In the best of situations, day or two after. But that's rare. I'll tell you right now, our gutter teams are slammed, and we want to ensure that we set those expectations, and we will during the project at the pre-site walk. So if you guys have any questions, though, let us know. We are always constantly getting better in the feedback from the public, from our clients, from our team out in the field, from anyone else, anyone out in the industry, on how we're doing things and whether or not they agree with how we do things. It's always appreciated. And so I know that's a chunk of time for explaining a roof install, but one thing we didn't go over, I guess we can just keep going on here, but is when the crews show up. They show up 8 o'clock or earlier on that Monday. That first day is dry-in day. There may be some starter strip and drip edge rake metal installed, but they're tearing down that roof and throwing it into the trailer, okay? And if you're just a single-story ranch or any sort of perfect access situation where the driveway and the trailer can meet and there's no ground dropping of the materials, then it's going to be about a 1-day tear off. And then we're going to be dried in with maybe some starter strip and drip materials, which is why the crews want to have their shingles show up that afternoon, because they're ready for them that afternoon. Because most houses are 2 to 3 day install, which means they don't want to be waiting around. Again, if they're driving an hour just to get to your project, they want to work until, in the summertime, 7 or 8 o'clock. I know. By the way, you have the ability, and do this during your pre-site walk with your project manager, to ask if you want to not have crews on site when you're eating dinner, or if you have guests coming, or if you're barbecuing at 7, let us know so we can absolutely get the hell out of your way and clean up properly so that you can entertain your guests and say, yeah, these crazy assholes are doing this crazy three-story 12-12 multi-layer full resheet. So that being said, that dry-in process is approximately a day. And then at that point, then your shingles start. And that's when you hear the guns, the compressor gets a little bit loud. You're going to see some little debris falling here and there. Give us a shout if you're going outside. If you're going out to your car on the street, we want to know. We don't want to drop any materials on you. And crews know better than to be dropping materials anywhere near a front door. But it's to make sure more than anything that you're not going to step on a nail or something, or walk the dog out and the dog steps on a nail. We've never, knock on wood again, like we've never had a pup step on nail. And I know there's going to be a day where it's just like, God, WTF there's unfortunately We're going to do the best we can, and our crews know this, to magnet sweep, clean up at the end of each day. Our project managers as well chiming in on this, doing their own magnet sweeps after the crews have even left. But there's going to be an unfortunate pup out there, and it kills me to think about it. I lost my pup last year, so I don't want to even think about any pups standing on a nail, okay? Protect your pups. You got to carry them out to the sidewalk. Might not be a bad idea, okay? So during that tear-off process, you're dried in. If a rain cloud comes over in the spring, it's going to be okay. Your water shedding materials, your synthetic underlayment is completely water shedding, not waterproof because the way it's lapped. At which point then you're not going to have to worry about anything getting in. We have had one situation where a disconnected downspout did let a leak in, but it wasn't during a new roof situation. It was during the tear-off situation in the spring. A random cloud came in. So we stand by that. We made it right, and immediately found what the issue was and made sure it didn't happen again. And so our project managers are hunting down these situations as well to ensure that they can avoid any of these unnecessary, predictable, unfortunate situations where we can provide our clients with the confidence they're expecting. So when the shingles start installing, you're approximately a day and a half from completion on most single family homes. And at that point, then your project manager is going to start to send you completion pictures. Maybe that's supported by the scheduler in the office to make sure that you get an understanding where things are at. Your project manager is going to be generally on site twice a day, morning and afternoon, as he's doing his rotations between the other 4 projects, which I found is optimal for a single project manager. No more, no less, to ensure that you get all of your questions answered, that the crews can get extra materials if they need it. In that route helps make sure that we can collect it as we go around the city or any of the suburban areas, Oregon City. McMinnville, generally not too much, a little bit of Hillsboro, Vancouver, all those. But he's coming back through to ensure that everything's flowing smoothly, that everything's snapped straight, that cleanup is good, no damaged gutters, rose bushes are checking out, and crews have got their water. A happy crew is a quality roof. And our project managers are trained to ensure that the crews are prioritized. I don't want to say more than the customer, which is not what you want to hear, but you understand that, again, these guys are doing one of the world's hardest jobs. And there was a day when I had heat stroke in my own truck 6 years ago, coming down from a job up in Vancouver. And it wasn't even that bad. It was the day before that hit me. And then I just got caught outside without drinking enough water, where I was foaming at the mouth, slurring my speech, going cross-eyed, driving down the 5, just completely obliterated by only a 95-degree day, but had completely just been baked. And I was only even just doing gutters in that time. So a little bit of understanding goes a long ways. That being said, we're taking care of our crews to ensure that they're taking care of your property. Without our people, your project manager, my production manager, schedulers, our inspectors, the admin staff here, we can't provide you with the experience that you expect from a 5-star company. And so with that, we're here to support each other. We're here to answer any questions you might have, which leads us all the way through to completion. Your project manager is going to be stopping by before completion's done, notified by the crew to make sure that everything, while it's on site and crew's on site, gets tidied up, cleaned up, and buttoned down properly before we leave the site, to make sure that we don't have to come back, to make sure that cleanup's good, to make sure that there's no damages to your garden, to make sure that the roof will check out for inspections. And at that point, then scheduling to have the tray either picked up at that time or have a scheduled pickup as well as a bathroom pickup, or set expectations for what to expect next if you're getting gutters, right? Maybe you've got multiple buildings on the property. There's going to be a sequence to each one of those. And so setting expectations, again, back to the beginning, is the most critical detail of a successful roofing project. And it could just be a repair, it could be gutters. Communication is key. And we appreciate it too. Don't be bashful. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you don't like. Okay? I've worked almost every day the last 6 or 7 years to get to the point where I can have this conversation with you, because I know that my project managers are trained to take care of this project with the installers who are trained by Malarkey come into our shop to install exactly the way the manufacturers like, with our own experience, anecdotes tied in with how we do ventilation to ensure that your properties are optimized with the best ROI for your roofing project. That would conclude your roofing experience, but if you're getting a max flow detail, you'll see us again in the fall. And if you're getting a max flow after February 2025, you're getting a lifetime workmanship warranty. And this is our confidence factor in how few return trips we've ever had on any new install on workmanship details. That is our guarantee to our clients, and that is my promise to Portland and the greater area that we plan on sticking around for a while. We are looking at, this is the first time I've told anyone on the interwebs, we're looking at a first right of refusal to buy this new shop location, which we're stoked on, to actually meet the demand and exceed expectations and give Portland the service it deserves and it wants. The way that Portland should have for a roofing company, the way they see Three Mountain Plumbing or Sky Heating and Cooling. These are in-house employees. And I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be easy. What we're up against is other companies calling OSHA on us, other companies sending out hitman to steal our trailers. By the way, if you're still watching, your project manager should be asking for your help, and we put this in the what to expect flyers as well, to park in front of our trailers at night. It's a blessing if you can help with that, because we are trying to be the fair team in town and setting expectations, trying to set an example, setting the standard, and that has a pretty good reciprocal energy to it that results in working with more people. And when you work with more people, then someone doesn't get to work with more people. And that means that other companies become envious, and then they start to get greedy. And we've seen now already over 2 trailers go missing. So we appreciate if you can help out with that regard, but no expectations. It's just part of how we flow. We get it. It's part of the game. Just even if we lock it up, doesn't matter. They'll break it in. So anything else, though, we're here for it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, requests, this is how we flow. This is how I've always imagined our dream experience for our clients. And we're finally to a point where we can start working on those 6-star experiences. 5 is not enough. And roofs are not cheap. There's a way that we can succeed together so that we can flow, so we can grow, and ultimately protect your properties with the best. And so with that, I appreciate your time and attention. So if you have any questions, again, give us a holler. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and call it. And in the next video, we'll talk about what happens after the install is complete. I know the experience is not over. When you go with the flow, you're in the fam for life. And that doesn't mean we're going to spam out your emails. We're not private equity owned. We don't have a marketing department. Okay. There's not going to be someone door knocking saying, "Oh, you want to buy something else?" All right. So we appreciate anyone's attention, trust. It's a privilege to be able to work on anyone's property, and we don't take it lightly. So we're going to continue to get better every single day. And from there on, yeah, we're going to call it. So have a good one, y'all. And till next time, take care.